easy for you to say.
What is happening, fellow pioneers of human transportation? I'm Yogi Steve. And you're watching the ESA live stream, another Voromotors podcast coming from you, number 62. As it says in the header, what's up, ESD? Good to see you still making content. We're going to first look at the InMotion RS and the Jet. I've done you guys know about the RS. The RS has been out for a while. The RS 2.0 is available from InMotion now. My favorite big stand-up scooter. The Jet, InMotion Jet, still not available. I'm one of the first persons. Thank you. No, stop it. My little dog's trying to jump on me, but I don't want him right now. All right, fine. Jump up here. Come on, come on, come on. So, you know, I'm one of the first persons in the world to have one of these InMotion Jets. What's up, King David? It's the smaller InMotion scooter, not even available on the market yet. I've already done 8 delivery videos on it, and it was supposed to be returned on Friday. They were supposed to pick it up, but they're not picking it up. But Voromotors just lent me this scooter. I'm not keeping it. They Jesus, this is a difficult podcasting spot. I was gonna keep the scooter for a week, but now I'm gonna keep it until Thursday, as far as I know. Voromotors is gonna come pick it up, so I'm gonna have the scooter for at least 3 more delivery shifts. Really enjoying my time on the Jet. You guys know I've made tons and tons of content on the InMotion RS. The RS is what I would classify as the big class of scooter, $3,500 to $4,500 class of scooter. What's up, Aussie Jackets? How you doing? And the Jet is also from InMotion, has a lot of the same features as the RS. It really does seem to be just a scaled down version. For a while, your only option in the RS community was in the InMotion community was the RS and the RS Lite. Now, as far as I know, they're not making the RS Lite anymore. Voromotors might still have some for sale, I'm not sure, but the RS definitely still available. Voromotors is the only dealer for the InMotion right now, according to their website. I haven't confirmed that with Melvin yet, but I'm pretty sure that is a fact. You know, I love the RS, and I've driven all of the big top-end scooters. The RS just has the most comfortable riding position, phenomenal brakes, phenomenal handling, great suspension. What's up, Kevin Woods? And the Jet is just a smaller version, really just a scaled down version. The difference between the RS and the Lite, when the Lite was regularly available, is the Lite just had a smaller battery. So the InMotion, it's a little confusing. The RS and the Jet, same body, same frame, same brakes, same tires, same everything. The Lite was less expensive though because it had a smaller battery. Hey, what's going on, LA Courier? How you doing? That sounds good, man. I like some of those pictures. I'll be out there tomorrow, Eddie. I'm back to work tomorrow. I took this whole week off. We'll talk about this later. I'll talk about DoorDash later in the stream. I took this whole week off. I'm coming off of a week off. But regardless, I'm going to have the Jet for 3 more sessions. 3 more like days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at least. And I'm going to use it for my delivery shift every single day. And my experience with the Jet is so far good. Can you believe I have over 260 miles on this scooter? What's up, Whiz Kid, YZ Kid? What do you ride? I ride everything. We'll talk about it. But so a lot of people have been asking me what the difference is between the Jet and the RS. A lot of people think that the Jet is really just the same thing as the Light with a different name, but it's not. The Jet is an absolute scaled down version of the RS. Everything on it looks the same. Same sort of deck, same dual stem, a similar braking system. I'm not sure if they have the same tires or not. I think actually that the RS has 3.5-inch wide tires and the Jet has 3-inch. We're going to look at them closely. What's up, Lego Gumball Edits? Can't understand what you're saying there, but good to see you, my friend. But I want to give you, a lot of people have been asking me what the hell is the difference between the RS and the Jet. Is the Jet the same thing as the Light? Is the Jet a scale? Is the Jet the same thing as the RS, just cheaper? And we're going to talk a little bit, then I'll give you a visual on the scooter. That's why we're sitting like this. Then I'll bring us back to the podcasting station and I'll sit down. I'll talk about all the other Voromotors scooters that I ride, about other scooters that Voro has that I don't ride that I know are coming out. But I wanted to give you guys a visual on these two scooters, which I guess I'll do right now. Just give me a second. Say hello to Bishop, my little doggy. We're set up in kind of an unorthodox setup here because I really wanted to show you the scooter. Hey, what's up, Ride with Anthony? How you doing? Did Navi Scooter hit you up? They gave you a scooter to review? No, Navi has not contacted me, but give them a, let me see, what does the Navi scooter look like? What kind of, Ride with Anthony. Make sure you guys give Ride with Anthony a sub. A really solid YouTuber, a good guy, what I consider like a real social media friend of mine. All right, I'm looking at the Navi scooter. What do they have there? Looks like they have primarily commuter scooters. I'll take one if they want to give me one. I'll give them a review. But it looks pretty cool. Make sure you guys give Ride with Anthony a sub. He's a really cool guy. Makes very good content. Now I want to show you these two scooters, okay? All right, Monkey, jump off. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, so we're gonna go manual. Let me turn it around. There's my big dog, my little dog. So what you're looking at here, obviously my helmets and all my safety gear and my little dog scratching himself. This is the Jet. Right here, this is the Jet. And this is the RS. Now if you look at them, right, they look pretty similar. But if you look at them real close, you'll see that the deck, first of all, it's a little more narrow on the Jet. This is the Jet, this is the RS. The deck is slightly more narrow. From this angle, it kind of looks like they're the same. But I can tell you that the Jet definitely has a slightly more narrow deck. And I'm going to line them up here. They actually have almost the same length. I think they are actually the same length. Let's see, front, back, yeah. So they're basically the same length. Maybe the Jet slightly shorter, an inch or two. They look basically the same to me. The suspension on them, similar but different. They both have the swing arm suspension. You can see the black on the RS, the yellow on the Jet, designed slightly differently. They both have adjustable suspension. I haven't yet figured out actually how to raise and lower the deck on the Jet. I've done it on the RS. You can see how it's like a little bit higher. Haven't yet figured out how to do this. When Nico, the tech from Voromotors, brought me the scooter, we went over it, and he wasn't sure how to raise or lower it. We don't really know. So we'll figure that out for sure. But they both have good hydraulic brakes. Looking at them, I believe they both have 160 millimeter rotors for the brakes. The kick plate on both of these scooters, super heavy duty metal kick plate. One of the drawbacks of less expensive scooters is they have the kick plate, but it's almost just like for looks. You really can't stand on it. But this kick plate really increases the length of the deck. Yeah, I do believe I don't know if the RS tires are taller. Let's see. Oh, Scott's asking me. It's at an angle, so it's hard to tell. I think they're both 11-inch, but I think that this is 3.5-inch and this is 3-inch. They could be the same. Actually, let me get my. I do have a tape measure here. Let's get my tape measure out if I can find it easily. Yeah, here it is. The problem with the Jet is it's just not available, so there's no specs anywhere. We're just left to guessing. Interestingly enough, they're both 72-volt scooters. So, yes. So wow, am I crazy? So these are they almost look like they're 4-inch, but I believe these are 3.5-inch. Maybe they're the same. It's really hard to tell. But very, very similar as far as the tires, the kick plate. The deck is a little more narrow on the RS. They both have kind of a similar neck, slightly different but similar. And I think where the differences really come into play is the stem. So let me get over here. My place is just loaded down with scooters. I got to get really far back here so you can see. So I think you can see even from this angle, God, you can see the mess in my apartment. It's always embarrassing. The Jet has a slightly skinnier stem. I mean, it's really not a huge, actually, I would say it's a substantial difference. I would say that the RS has a 1/3 thicker stem. Now they both have different folding mechanisms. Actually, it's interesting thing is this rubber piece here on my RS, oh, it actually just fully came out. This is actually one of the problems with the RS. They have like this rubber gasket that goes in here that usually stays into place. I didn't realize this came out. You don't necessarily need this, but without this, it's going to have like a little bit of play, small amount of play. This is actually the second one of these that I've got. So I'm going to contact a Voro or InMotion, and they'll send me another one of these. This I consider a week. Hey, what's up, What Traffic? Thank you for the super chat. I'll give you a hit in a bit. Delmar Barry, how you doing? To wheelie a scooter, do I need a single motor and a large skid plate to stand on? Maybe. You might need the kick plate. I'm not really sure, but I don't wheelie these things because I don't want to destroy my scooters. So differences between the RS and the Jet. These are different folding mechanisms. This mechanism here, this is on the RS. You unscrew this. Stop it, monkey. He's trying to escape. You unscrew this piece here, and this piece flips out. And that's how you move the stem. That's how you adjust the hinge. On the Jet, there's a couple different pieces. There's this. You pull this out, releases one mechanism. You pull this out, releases another mechanism. Then you pull the stem actually out of this holder right here, and then fold the stem back. I actually think that I might prefer this stem better, this hinge better on the less expensive scooter because it doesn't have this stupid rubber gasket. I think this was like a design flaw. They never should have made this like this. This actually is supposed to have two little pieces that stick out of it. But very, very similar. Another big difference, which is actually not going to be a difference on the 2.0, not to confuse you, but this is the RS, correct? The model available now is the RS 2.0, and if I understand correctly, this wire here, you see how this screws off? This is called a plug-and-play wire, which attaches the motor to the battery. This will not be on the 2.0 because they were having trouble with the InMotion RS with these wires burning out. I've talked about it a lot, the motor cable wire, and these connectors are problematic. We have these connectors also on the Emove Roadrunner Pro. Not as many, but some people were having those wires burn out. And that's frustrating when the motor itself is fine, but the wire that connects it to the battery and the controller and everything is problematic. But you can see a similar suspension system, coil suspension, both fully adjustable. I generally never mess with those. I usually leave those on stock. But on the Jet, you can see it's not a plug-and-play wire. It's just a very regular straight wire, typical. What's up, Mysterio71? How you doing? That's James. How you doing? Big Boys PEV, how you doing? Says the Jet looks more compact. I like it. Yeah, this is a case of where the smaller version is almost as good as the bigger version. I would say one of the big differences, though, is I did max out this scooter. I did it on the live stream. The RS goes very, very close to 70. I think I've gotten it to 65. You guys know when I get these scooters, I usually just take them on one max speed run, and then I never max it out again because to me, there's just no reason to ride these scooters at top speed. But I usually max them out when I get them. And I think I got the RS to 65. I think it's advertised as at like 70 miles an hour. Now the Jet, I did max out the Jet on the stream, I think last episode, and it hit almost exactly 50 miles an hour. So even though they're both 72 volts, the RS has a higher amp hour battery. And I always relate amp hours to range of the scooter, not so much speed or acceleration. But in this case, I guess it makes a difference. Both 72 volt. One goes 65 miles per hour, one goes 70. The RS is currently selling for $35.99, the 2.0, the upgraded version, for $3,600 we'll say. I don't have a price on the Jet. What you should do is if you're interested in the Jet, go to the Voromotors webpage. They have an email list where you can sign up and give them your email and they'll send you information on this scooter when they have it. But at this price point, I really love, I think the Jet's going to be $23.99. That's my guess. At this price point, I'm just like a really, really big fan of the Jet, putting 250 miles on it. Really fun to ride, really, really comfortable. You can see both these scooters, the stems, they lean towards the rider, which I really, really like. Easy to read display. Sometimes it's not easy to see on, that's pretty easy to see actually. How many miles do I got? 253. I don't know why I said 260. But yeah, definitely, this is a great display. I mean, both the displays on these are good. This is the display on the RS. Is this thing charged? Yeah, this is charged. You can see I got 3461 on this, 253 on this. Obviously, I've had the RS for longer. One thing about, let me turn this off so I don't put it through the wall. One thing that I do think is better on the Jet is this is a thumb throttle, okay? I like this thumb throttle. This to me is just standard. It doesn't bother my hand or my grip. I hate this on the RS. This is one of the only things in the RS that I don't like. Let me turn this off again. This is a half twist throttle. So you see, this just turns, normally like on a traditional motorcycle throttle, right? The whole handlebar turns, you know, vroom, vroom. But this is like only half of it turns. This leads you to a situation where these fingers here are gripping while these are turning. And I feel it's extremely awkward. You guys have seen, actually, I just took it off, but I have a thing called the Cramp Buster, which is like a laser printed device that turns this into a thumb throttle, makes it so you can thumb throttle it. But I put so many miles on this, even the thumb throttle was killing my thumb. But I really prefer this type of a throttle on a scooter. And when it comes to throttles, if you know me, like my answer is always the same. I don't really have a total preference on throttles, barring the fact that I don't like the half throttle. I just like to have variety in throttles. When you ride as much as I do, to be able to switch your hand position on the scooter, I mean, that makes a big fucking difference. I really like that a lot. So the InMotion RS, the InMotion Jet, Voromotors is the exclusive dealers of InMotion right now, as far as I know. That's what it says on their website. I haven't spoken to the boss, Melvin, for a while. But they're going to be picking this up from my place, I think, on Thursday of this week. And I'll be sad to see it go. And you know the way it goes for me, it's like maybe when the Jet is on the market for a little longer and Voromotors has sold some units, has more in stock, maybe they'll give me one to keep. Because the thing about me is, you guys know, I really only promote for Voromotors. And if I have one of these scooters in my delivery fleet, I'll get tons and tons of referrals, opportunities to get sales. But I'm very good at promoting these scooters. So Melvin, if you like the work that I'm doing with this scooter, I'll take one of these Jets. This is no joke. Now, while we're standing around here, actually, I can't really, what else do I got here to show you? It's too dark back here, but this is my Cruiser. See, this is my Emove Cruiser V2. I can tell you right now, I have a lot of miles on this one. Okay, so it says 158, but it's 2,158. I don't know why it says that. It's kind of strange, but I've made like, obviously I don't have 158 miles on it. I've done over 50 delivery videos with 30 plus mile range, but this scooter has 2,100 miles on it. Really, really like this scooter. This is the upgraded Emove Cruiser. Phenomenal fucking scooter. I guess while we're walking back, I'll quickly show you my other vehicles here that I have from Voro. Let's see here. This is my Dualtron Ultra. They didn't give me that. But these are my 3 Roadrunners right here, right? This is the SE, the smaller version. This is almost like the commuter scooter version of the Roadrunner. This is the Pro. I know the seat looks terrible, but I don't care. It's comfortable. It still works fine. And behind it, I actually have my V2. The V3 is actually in the other room. I actually kind of prefer my V2 over my V3 right now, just because you can put the secondary battery right here in the top portion. You can stack it perpendicularly. But this is the Roadrunner line. I've done a lot of work with Roadrunner. We'll talk about it as I sit down. Make sure you join my academy. All right, let's sit down. What Traffic donated $5 via Super Chat. It's kind of our unspoken thing. I always do a hit. I haven't even done a hit all day, actually, guys. I've been smoking a lot less recently. I'm still suffering with this tinnitus. I'm actually making an appointment with the ENT, and I have an appointment with a neurologist, which is like a little scary. But I got something going on with my ears. So I haven't been smoking that much. Haven't quit or anything, but I've been smoking a lot less. I've also been actually eating pretty fucking clean. Delmar Barry says, lots of stuff in that apartment. Yeah, like I am a grown man on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like a kid where, since I live by myself, I live the dream life, you know? Like, I just have tons and tons of scooters in here. I put shit all over the place. One of my rooms is a gym. I don't live like a normal person. But let me do a quick hit here for What Traffic for the super chat that he gave me. Most of you guys know, I recently switched to vaporizing. And by vaping, I don't mean like the typical vaping that you see people doing now. I switched to vaporizing flower. vaporizing raw herbs. So this is the Dynavap B. See, very small little vaporizer device. It's kind of a great low price entry level into vaporizing. It's got a very small bowl. I think it holds like about 1/10 of a gram. But I've been smoking out of this for a couple weeks, and I feel like ultimately, as like a lifetime very heavy smoker, this is better for your lungs. So Dynavap is a really cool device. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. Maybe for the Yoga Steves, for the Journal channel, I probably should get sponsored. But I've been vaping instead of smoking. And I've really, Electric Rider says, hey, what's up, Captain Kirk? Says, what is a normal person? Yeah, I guess that's what I say. Like, I don't live like a normal person. You know, I like, what can I tell you? This is California living. We're all independent here. We're all different. So, so Electric Rider says, vaping makes your stash go longer. That's for sure. He doesn't mean mustache. He means cannabis stash. So, you know, I've been smoking for years. Maybe I haven't really been developing a cough, but I know the one thing that's bad for you when it comes to smoking is combusting and burning shit and putting it into your lungs. So vaping, it doesn't heat the material up all the way. You can actually see in here, this is the leftover material. You see how it's not black, like it's totally burnt. So this is like the leftover material. It smells interesting, which I'm going to turn this into edibles at one point for myself. But I've been vaping instead of just regular smoking, and I've been really liking it. So this is how this works, by the way. You heat this up, and then the cap will pop when it's ready. So just watch it. You got to spin it and pay close attention to it. Did you see that? Very subtly clicked. Now, granted, it's not as big of a hit as, you know, doing a big bong hit or a big rip off of a joint. But, you know, here I am at 55. I've already been smoking. I mean, can I tell you, I've been smoking nearly daily for 30 years. And I really anticipate that I'll be smoking for the rest of my life. I almost think it's like practically pro-health. So I think the only thing that's bad about smoking is burning stuff and putting it in your lungs. We're early in the stream. This is the sponsored podcast. I forgot to say at the beginning, I do get paid for these. So I always like to just let you know that, just to be honest. And very quickly going over the products that Voromotors has for sale. If you're looking for an e-bike, the Altus Sigma are in stock. If you're looking for a big, giant scooter, the Huga Daytona is their new release from Voromotors. I think it's going to be their house scooter, meaning that I don't know if anybody else is going to be selling this scooter, but this is some giant 150 pound, 72 volt, 40 amp hour scooter. I don't have links for this because I'm not a part of the affiliate program. I don't know if Voro is even giving affiliate kickbacks for the Huga yet. It's not. You can order them now. They're not going to be shipped until August. But this, if you want like just one of the biggest scooters out there, this is the scooter that's on the market. Giant 4-inch tires, 13 by 4-inch tires. And I don't know too much about it other than what's available. The people who have ridden it, Louis, the average guy, 1983. I saw some people riding it at Electrify Expo. They really like this freaking scooter. So if you want a big-ass monster scooter, what's up, Adam Marsh? How are you? Right with Anthony says, I don't smoke weed. Good for you. You're one of the... New York is like California, right, where a lot of people smoke. They may have legal cannabis there. Good for you. You don't need to smoke. It's nothing anybody needs to do. I rationalize it as it's like my only vice. But anyhow, EMOVE Roadrunner is also available from Voromotors. Make sure you join my academies if you're looking at any of these scooters. If I can get my hands on a Huga Daytona for just to borrow, I will start an academy for there. But I don't have an academies for scooters that I'm not very familiar with. So if you're looking at the InMotion RS, join my InMotion RS, which I've now changed to InMotion RS and Jet Academy. If you're looking at the Emove Cruiser, join my Emove Cruiser V2 Academy. These are all on Facebook. And if you're looking at the Emove Roadrunner, make sure you join my Emove Roadrunner Academy. I consider these academies to be very special because I create them. They're my pages. It's sort of like a low-key monarchy where I have the last decision on everything, but I let the owners of the scooters, what's up, Mutant, how you doing? I let the owners of the scooters run the page. All I do on my academies is make sure nobody trolls, make sure there's no crazy misinformation on there, and I have certain rules on the academies like no trolling people, no trolling, no like picking on new people, and no sales. I don't allow any sales on my no sales on my academies, but I'm very proud of these groups because I let the owners of the scooters run the academy. We all know there's tons and tons and tons of biased information out there on scooters, right? And who can you listen to? Who can you believe? You can believe the manufacturers to a certain degree. You can believe the distributors to a certain degree. But you can really believe the owners of the scooters the most. So when there are problems with the scooters that I ride, nothing is hidden. If there's problems with the Emove Cruiser V2, you'll see it listed on the Academy. By the way, this scooter, very, very, very few problems. You know, I was talking to Melvin. I haven't sold as many V2s as I have other scooters, and I really believe this Emove Cruiser V2 is one of the best scooters out there. Melvin thinks it's because the Cruiser V2, it doesn't really have all the bells and whistles. It's kind of not as fancy as other scooters in its class, but to me, man, this scooter's been durable. It's been turning on. It's got hydraulic brakes. Big upgrade on this Emove Cruiser V2 compared to the first generation single motors especially. What's up, Jimmy Greer? How you doing? Jimmy Greer from Alabama. Very cool. I love it. I love hearing from different places. Alabama's far away. But my other academies, InMotion RS and Jet, joined that academy. At least now that I've had the Jet for a couple weeks, I feel like I could say a lot about it. And I feel like at 250 miles, I'll probably have 350 by the time I return it. I can say whether or not the scooter is what I call vetted, whether or not it has any systemic problems. And I think InMotion can supersede Dualtron in build quality. You guys may or may not know, but Voromotors used to but no longer sells Dualtron products. And you guys know that I kind of made my bones on Dualtron scooters. But I ended up working with Voromotors as an affiliate because they're just a better affiliate. You can make some money on them. They give me vehicles for free. I mean, Mini Motors USA went out of business. I don't know if you guys know this. They're now owned by the parent company. So, and that means something. That says a lot. So it means they're struggling over there. So I'm very happy to be with Voromotors. I don't see Voromotors going out of business in any time soon. What's up, JRG from Miami Beach? Awesome. Mutant Maniac from, is that North Carolina coast here? Is that what NC is? Very cool. But, yeah, I love working for Voromotors. Melvin, the owner of the company, is always very generous with me. So the Roadrunner line, too, my Emove Roadrunner Academy. That was my original first academy. I have over 5,000 members on there. And that's a great group. Because just to be honest, there have been problems with most of the Roadrunner scooters. Like any scooter, there's no scooter on the market that hasn't had a problem, a single problem or a bunch of problems. So, you know, the Emove Roadrunner V2 came out. The problems that it had was no rear suspension. Some problems with the tires being put on and off, not being delivered fully aligned properly. And then when the Emove Roadrunner Pro came out, we had a lot of problems with the frame. So they came out with the second generation frame, still had some problems, but 90% less problems. The Emove Roadrunner Pro, the first gen, which you can no longer buy, we got like over 40 reports of cracked frames on there. Luckily, by cracked, it means a person sees a crack in the stem before it fails. And now, if that does happen to you within the first year, Voro's been pretty quick to get out replacement frames. I know it's not James, but somebody on the academy just recently, their frame broke, and boom, Voromotors sent him another one just because he posted in the academy. But point being is, all this information, it's not hidden, it's not a secret. There's nothing deceptive going on with the company, with the scooters. That's what the academies are all about. Now, this being said, Emove Roadrunner Pro 2 is coming out. When? Nobody knows. Melvin has mentioned it, and this is pretty common for these guys to talk about a new scooter coming out, and then it takes a long time for it to actually come out. So hopefully this Roadrunner Pro 2, it's going to have an upgraded frame. I know it's going to have pedals. That's the difference between the V2 and the V3. The big upgrade from the V2 to the V3 is the V3 has a rear suspension, and a pedal kit. Now, why do you need pedals? If you're in my neighborhood, you don't need pedals on your bikes because the cops here, they're not serious about enforcing like the electric vehicle rules, the laws. And the federal laws, I believe, say that the bike vehicle must have pedals, must have like under 750 watt motors, blah, blah, blah. Those rules mean nothing depending on where you live. Here in California, in Hollywood, Los Angeles, downtown, you can get away with riding vehicles. Cops are not impounding vehicles. Now, this is happening, you've probably seen on social media, all across the country, probably all across the world. And you can classify these bikes as Sur-Ron-style bikes. And it's not even Sur-Ron anymore, right? It's Sur-Ron, Talaria, the E-Ride Pro, a Sigma's, what are they, Altus Sigma, whatever it is there's many bikes that look the same. They have a very similar design. And the big problem with these bikes is, in my opinion, is you've got like 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds riding them around neighborhoods,
It's very obvious when you see somebody young on these bikes. You can tell they're physically smaller. You see their face, you can tell, shit, that's a young person. And these bikes go 40, 50, 60 plus miles an hour. So should kids be allowed to ride these without licensing? Probably not. So in certain neighborhoods in California, nicer neighborhoods, probably like Brentwood, Westwood, Beverly Hills, if you ride these bikes around there, you might get impounded, you might get pulled over. But I believe it's all because of kids. I don't think they give a shit if adults are riding these bikes. Right now, there's really no specific rules and regulations for these types of bikes. Really, I mean, if you want to know the truth, again, I always give the truth on the podcast, is everybody going above 20 miles per hour anywhere in the country, federally, these vehicles are illegal. So that's why when you get a lot of these scooters delivered, they have a speed limiter on them. This is from every single company in the industry. You got to take the speed limiter off if you want to go faster. And technically, you're not supposed to actually ride these scooters fast unless you're on private property. But what value is that? So we're just at like an in-between period of time when it comes to rules and regulations and PEV. So I think it's a great time. Like if you are a PEV owner, get out there and ride your ass off. Because I am positive in 1 week to 5 years, we're going to have full... Sorry about that. I'm positive in 1 week to 5 year, Angelo says, stop acting like you're Deadpool. Am I acting like Deadpool? In 1 week, tomorrow or 5 years from now, there will be rules and regulations applied to PEVs that are going to be the same as motor vehicles, the same as like a motorcycle or a car. So I'm sure within my lifetime, we're going to see you're going to have a PEV license to ride anything faster than a 20 mile per hour commuter scooter. You're going to need to have specialized insurance. They will have registration. Now, even though like we live in a world where everything changes really fast, right? Technology changes really fast. Hardware changes a little slower. But rules and regulations, by the state, by the country, changes very slow. I mean, cannabis is a really good example of that. Think about it, where you've got half the states in America, in the U.S., have fully legalized recreational cannabis, but it's still completely federally illegal. So we're definitely at a crossroads. But think about how many years this has been going on for. I got my first prescription for herb, medical prescription, in 2006, I think. I mean, almost 20 years ago, right? 20 years later, even though you can go to a state doctor in California and probably 25 other states and get a medical note or buy recreationally, we're not any closer to federal regulation. So when it comes to PEVs, I anticipate the same thing. Eventually, you're going to find one state will probably make it so you need a PEV license, specialized insurance, registration, go through a training course. That is all coming. I'm not delusional. So sometimes when I'm working a lot, especially when I'm doing DoorDash on scooters, sometimes I feel like I'm working too much. But then I remind myself, one of these days I'm going to look back and you're going to find out that, because what I love about the scooter world is you don't need this stuff. You don't need a license, don't need registration, don't need insurance. It's just a lot less expensive to use these vehicles than a car. But I know that's coming. I know that aspect of that money that I'm saving, that pain in the ass amount of work that I'm saving. Hey, what's up, Jim? Mr. Hoodlum 420, how you doing? You were on the LA board of NORML? That's awesome, dude. NORML, for those of you guys don't remember, was the National Association of Reform Marijuana Laws. That's very cool, Jim. You got to tell me about that when I see you out there. What's up, Das Giro, the Carolinian VTuber? Mutant Maniac says, stand-up scooters have to be registered and tagged here, but there's nowhere to hang the tag on most scooters. I hear that. Yeah, I agree. But anyhow, so regulation is coming. So if you ride a PEV, keep riding. Get yourself out there. Ride as much as you can. Another business where this affected me was, a lot of you guys may or may not know, I was a real professional poker player for a long time. First, I played in the casinos, and then in like early 2008, 2010-ish, hard to remember when, I became like a full-time online poker player. What's up, Silent But Electric? Good to see you. Another regular. I became became an online poker player, and I played online poker. I think I have my numbers wrong, actually. It was 1999, 2000 when it was invented. 2011, online poker was kicked out of the United States. And I regret God, was it really 2011? It was 14 years ago. But I was playing from 2003 to 2011. I was basically a full-time, you guys know I was a weed dealer back in the day, but I was also an online poker player. And I made really good money doing that. And one day in 2011, I wake up, I look at the fucking computer, and it says, like, the federal government has shut down this website. I was on PokerStars at the time. So point being is, laws are going to change, and it's going to affect you. If you ride a PEV, whether it be a bike or a scooter, these laws are going to change. Get yourself out there on your bike, put in a lot of miles, enjoy it, because full-time registration, insurance, legislation, it's all coming. Silent But Electric says, I met you at Electrify Expo. I didn't even know, did I know it was you? He says, you kept my girlfriend anonymous. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm always trying to keep my girlfriend out of the stream, out of anything on the channel. Electric Rider says, yeah, I don't know, where do you, who's saying that? That they have, that you need to register your scooter where you live, but there's nowhere for the tags. I can tell you that Electric Rider is asking you how much they charge to register a scooter. Very interesting. Yeah, thanks, Jim. I did have a good vacation. I think North Carolina. North Carolina, probably a very strict conservative state. I believe that. I've been, by the way, to Charlotte and Greensboro. When I was in another life, I was a martial arts instructor and student and competitor, and we went to tournaments both in Charlotte and Greensboro. What I remember is having my first Krispy Kreme in one of those cities, and the people were really nice. You know, if you're from New Jersey, you go to the South, especially back in the day. I don't know so much now, but people were really nice. It was pretty incredible. So North Carolina, that you have to register your scooter. Very interesting, I believe it. But Mutant Maniac does say they ride them in downtown Charlotte and the cops really don't care. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if they don't enforce a law, then it's really nothing to worry about. But they could, at the flip of a switch, boom, just start enforcing the law, and that's it. All right, I said hello to everybody. At Dashiro, how you doing? He says, yes, it sucks. Electric right here. The traffic is insane here. Where are you from? He's from Carolina, obviously. The Carolinian hamster VTuber. Long-time subscriber to the channel, viewer, always in the chat. It's good to see you guys. All right, so have I gone over everything that's going on with Voromotors? Hookah Daytona, you can pre-order those now. They're delivering in August. Their bikes are in stock. I actually think they have those in stock. Obviously, we went over the RS and the Jet as much as you can. Really looking forward to when this Jet comes out, because I stand to like make some affiliate sales. You know, I'll have some of the first videos on this scooter, because I'll be posting delivery videos right away. I was like, after I shoot this, I was going to do like my long form review video on the Jet, but I feel like I'm getting tired. It's already the end of the day. Yeah, Jim says, just like weed, we have to fight. Yeah, exactly. There's no doubt about it. But alrighty, so scooter stuff, Emove Cruiser Academy, Roadrunner Academy, InMotion RS, and Jet Academy. Those are all my Facebook groups. All right, so that's it. Now let's listen to some music and light the smoke machine. Let me grab my remote from my TV and I'll pick a song for us. Listening to a lot of Foo Fighters. I don't want to bore you guys with that. Nothing live, please. What is this weird shit? Oh, here we go. Little Pantera. All right, light your smoke machines, kids. Let's enjoy the Sunday afternoon together. Be yourself, by yourself, stay away from me. Talking to me? Are you talking to me? No way, punk. big hit. All this stuff going on in my life here. You guys know, you may or may not know, I was a yoga teacher in Hollywood for a long time. I had a really popular class at Runyon Canyon Yoga. It was called Runyon Canyon Yoga. Runyon Canyon is a park right around the corner from where I live. Jim, you keep cursing, and I have to like put it through. You're allowed to curse here, but every time you curse, I have to vet it through. But so yeah, that's why I go by Yogi Steve. Am I a yogi? That doesn't even really mean anything, to be honest with you. I am somebody who's practiced a lot of yoga for 20, 25 years. I took classes and was a teacher, but I taught for a long time. I taught for 20 years. And I was known for like a free or donation class, because the first class I ever took, you know, it's funny, people are talking now about how the economy is bad and things are expensive. And no doubt that is true. But if you've been around for a while, you know that this conversation has been happening forever. So in 1998, 1999, when I got certified as a yoga teacher, I got certified very quickly. I trained for a couple of years, and you can just sign up for a cert. It's very easy. It's not like getting a black belt or something. But when I got my first certification, oh, thank you, Captain Kirk, for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it, and I love your screen name. Thank you very much. Live long and prosper. So I really appreciate the super chats, guys. Anyhow, my initial training was done for free. I went to this guy named Brian Kest, who strangely enough was a Californian, like a white Jewish guy. You know, I say that because you think of a yoga teacher as like being either Indian or maybe female, but most of the teachers were men. And I've had like a lot of, you know, you guys know I'm Jewish. I've had a lot of like Jewish martial arts instructors, Jewish yoga teachers. So my first main teacher was Brian Kest. And I would drive all the way down to Santa Monica to take his class. And he had a donation-based class where you'd walk in, there'd be like a little white box, and you'd put your money in the box. This was great because, like, you know, like I believe in karma to a certain degree. What goes around comes around. So I think he got a lot of value, you know, making some money, but also like doing good for the community by offering yoga effectively for free, because you didn't have to donate anything. You didn't have to donate to get into this room. He taught classes that had 150 people in them, the biggest classes you'll ever see. This was a long time ago, 1995, right? 96, 97. It's like a warehouse yoga. But he did it for free, and I trained there for my first couple years as a student. And he was very much a regular guy yoga teacher. Like all my yoga teachers were, you know, if you met them outside of a yoga class, you would think they were just like a regular dude. Mind Blow X, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, where I learned yoga from. So Brian Kest was my first teacher. What Brian was known for, he was one of the first Americans to bring Ashtanga-style yoga. Now, that can be confusing if you don't know what I'm talking about, but you can think of Ashtanga as a very physical, rigorous system. I got into yoga for the exercise. Yes, I got into it because I was suffering from depression at the time, which I'm not going to say I don't suffer from anymore, but yoga really changed my life as far as depression goes. Also, I think I started yoga when I was 30. And I went from 25 to 30. I was just a full-on pothead, junk food eater. And I was sedentary. I literally didn't work out for 5 years. So after my first yoga class, it was a hard physical workout. You know, if you don't think yoga is hard, if you go to some of these classes out here in LA, my teachers were the hardest teachers around. I got into yoga for the physicality of it, for the fitness element of it. So, but point being is, his classes were free. And I was really inspired by that. So early 2000, 2002 maybe, 2003, I started Runyon Canyon Yoga, which was a donation, really I called it a free or donation yoga class, where just like Brian's class, Brian Kest's class, you could enter the environment without any money. I had students that I'm sure that were borderline, like, you know, houseless, homeless people who took my class for years. But I also had people that would come and give me $5, $10. My classes were big. I remember having as many as 75, 80 people. I taught them outdoors at this park in this area that wasn't fenced off when I started. They eventually fenced it off for the yoga classes. They fencing off the area kept the dogs out. Dogs are not allowed in the yoga area, so you could stand in it, put your feet there, and not have to worry about standing in somebody's piss. But so I started like a free or donation yoga class in 2003, and that ran probably till COVID, till 2021 or 22. So I taught that for 20 years. And this class was very, very, very popular. My buddy Steve, got a friend from college, not from college, but from out here, from my hometown, who lived out here, worked for Sony or CBS. He was like an executive, and he's like, dude, within my place, like, you're famous. Like, every person in every production company in LA has taken your class at least once. I taught so many people. I mean, that was like my glory days as a yoga teacher. So point being is, for over 20 years, I taught this free or donation yoga class. I benefited from it by sometimes people would donate, and I made a little bit of money, so that was nice. But also, I started a private training business. If I showed you guys my gym, maybe I'll show you guys. Maybe when we sign off, I'll bring you into the gym really quick. So even though as a yoga teacher, I also taught like strength training, unconventional training, calisthenics. So I developed a private training business, which I did for years. I did that for probably the 10 years before COVID. I was just a full-time trainer, no more selling weed. YouTube didn't exist for me. I was a full-time trainer, and I probably had as many as 12 to 15 private training students coming in 2-3 days a week, and that was like my entire life. And then COVID hit, and man, I lost like almost everybody. And it was crazy. It was a weird thing too, because I felt like at that phase I was a little burnt out of teaching. And sometimes when you lose a job or anything good in your life, you don't realize how good it was till it's gone. So, I stopped training people. But I still have 3 clients left over. You hear me talking about those. Point being is, I want to restart Runyon Canyon Yoga. It's actually still been going on all this time because one of my close friends, one of my first students, Daniel, he's been teaching Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30 to 11:30, all this time, a free class. And he's a full-time professional yoga teacher now. I was like his first teacher like 25 years ago. He's actually a little older than me. But he's been keeping the class going for a while. But I want to bring the class back. So today I actually went out to the park. I kind of sat down in the sun. The beautiful thing about doing yoga in Runyon Canyon is you're outdoors in nature. You can actually like hear the birds, feel the wind. It can be really hot though, but there are some shaded areas with trees. But I really want to bring back this class. I miss teaching. Honestly, I'd really like to get more private training clients again. And it was a great place to meet people who could, they could see my yoga style. Then they could look at my Instagram or my Facebook. I posted a lot of videos of my students training and get an idea how I train people. I really should actually be doing this online. I just never really pushed it enough. I teach hardstyle kettlebell, which is a method of kettlebell training, a very serious method of kettlebell training, heavy kettlebell training. I teach a lot of calisthenics stuff, a lot of bodybuilding stuff with dumbbells, a little bit of barbell work, not so much. And I'm a big believer in the mace. The mace is a very cool tool for shoulder and grip, strength and mobility. But I did that for years. So I want to bring back Runyon Canyon Yoga. I'm just having trouble. Like, I'm a very slow starter with everything in my life. So I really want to get my shit together. So today, to motivate myself, I went out to the park and I sat down and I recorded like a 25-minute video that's going to be like my new class when I restart this class. If you're local, by the way, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, go to Facebook. It's Runyon Canyon Yoga. The group is practically dead. Facebook has become such a joke for promoting. If you don't, Facebook has become a joke for promoting. If you don't spend money on Facebook groups, it's just a waste. So we have a big group with like 16,000 members. You make a post, it gets like five views or five likes and no comments. The point being is this page is still there with the schedule, Runyon Canyon Yoga. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's always free. Actually, Jim, Eddie, you local guys, you should go out there and try that class. Daniel's a really cool guy. He's actually like in a rock band, very regular guy, very much in line with my lineage of taking yoga from regular dudes and creating like regular dude instructors. I mean, Daniel, he did a lot more training than with me. He's a really good instructor. He actually went to India and trained for a period of time. I never went to India, by the way. Fuck that shit. But yeah, Jim, you got to go. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30. Go and say hello to Daniel. You'll almost never see me there. But what's going on here in the chat? You guys are all behaving. Everybody's good. Got a lot of regulars, so it's good to see you all. Anyhow, so I really want to start this class again. And when I do, I'll probably record every class. I tried to actually live stream it today, and some of you guys might have seen. I went up there today with my personal hotspot, and it was very upsetting that the hotspot wouldn't work. I really wanted to live stream the class, but in this park, I couldn't get a connection for whatever reason. So I am going to record the classes, though, and post them somewhere so you guys can follow them if you're interested. I teach like a style of yoga that's kind of based around the fundamental positions. They're called asanas. I don't use any Sanskrit at all, so you call them postures. And if you can learn like the basics in my class, you could just literally do that forever, and it'll be good for your strength, your flexibility, your movement. But you could also go from my class to another class. You could go to like any other class. If you're good at my class, I used to always say, if you're competent at the postures that I teach, at the pace that I teach them in my class, one, you'll increase your flexibility and strength, especially if you're a beginner, and your ability to move. But two, after 3 to 6 months, you can go to any yoga school in town. Now, warning you, I looked it up recently, man, the cost of yoga classes has become just outrageously fucking expensive. This is just unfucking believable. So, but yeah, I want to bring back my class. Oh, that's right, Electric Rider's still recovering from a broken hip. How's the replacement going? I know you had a replacement done, right? Mutant Maniac says, I'm from the motorcycle world. The gear I wear on the e-bike is so much more comfortable. Yeah, I mean, if I was to ride, recently I've been feeling like I should wear more gear. You know, I wear elbow pads, knee pads, gloves, and a helmet. And I do see guys, though, on stand-up scooters like mine, like the fast ones that go 40 and faster, like wear the full jacket. That's not overkill, right? I just don't want to wear it because it's summer, it's so fucking hot. I mean, sometimes I'm out there with my elbow pads on in a tank top, which is fucking stupid. Knock on wood, like, you know, I haven't had an accident for a while. And recently, in the last year or so, I've been driving slow. I don't know if that increases or reduces the chance of accidents, but it probably reduces the chances of having a catastrophic accident. I had a very much catastrophic accident almost 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. Yeah, almost 2 3/4 years ago, where I got knocked out, broke my collarbone. Thank God I was wearing a helmet. I wasn't really wearing enough of a helmet. I had on my I don't know what type of helmet it's called. It's a very aerated helmet. It's like a light mountain bike helmet. But ever since then, I've upgraded to Troy Lee. I'll show you my helmets, by the way. You're walking better, Electric Rider? You're still using the cane? As long as you're walking, you know, after these surgeries, I'm sure the doctor told you, like, you got to walk as soon as possible. I've trained a lot of old dudes. I train an old dude right now regularly that still trains with me. He's like 70-something. He's had a bunch of surgeries, procedures, and it's always interesting to me is after you have a surgery on your hip, your leg, your back, whatever, back in the day, you would have to stay in bed for a couple weeks. But I guess over time they learned that just slows down your recovery. So nowadays, if you have like a hip replacement, or like my mother just had a hip replacement done, you have back surgery, leg surgery, they encourage you to be walking as soon as possible. It makes sense because that'll increase your blood flow, right? So, you know, knock on wood, like I should have had the surgery done on my collarbone. I have like a bump here. You can't really see it anymore. Maybe you can see it, right? But, you know, it fused back together. I remember when I broke my collarbone, I was very scared of getting the surgery because I've never had a surgery. I made it this far in life. And I read that before. Hey, what's up, Johnny Lawrence? How you doing? Great name. I love that name. Go Karate Kid. Daniel was the villain, not you. But when I broke my collarbone, I did a lot of, you know, I don't want to say research. People say reading online is research. I feel like that's stupid. But, you know, before they had surgery, most people's collarbone injuries would just heal. It would just fuse together. Like mine, if this is a straight line collarbone, mine broke like this fully, then it healed like this. But, so, you know, it healed basically fully where I have no pain or anything from it. Like I can kind of feel that it's there. I regret not having the surgery because the big difference I've been saying is my weightlifting training will never be the same. I'm really afraid to like push this too hard. I don't do pull-ups anymore, and pull-ups were just such a big, maybe I should try to get back on pull-ups. They're a big part of my training method for years. I love pull-ups if you can do them. The problem is a lot of people can't do like a single one or more than one. It's very hard to train that as an exercise. I used to train people with bands though. That would help a lot. The point being is, yeah, I've had bad accidents. I've recovered. How much time do we got left? I was like, all right, we got 4 minutes. I will show you guys the gym because I alluded to that. Let me see if I can do this without showing you guys how messy my apartment is. Well, there it is. It's too late. So this is my dog. Say hello to the dog. Say hello to Ripley. She's a good girl. She's got this big lump on her because she's getting old, but she's a good dog. She's actually calmed down quite a bit. This was like, I've had dogs my whole life. This was probably like the most wild and high energy dog that I've ever had, but you can see, you know, you can't really tell. She's getting white. She's getting old, so I cherish every day with her. I know she's not going to last forever. You want to show him your belly? You want to show your belly? No? Okay. Anyhow, so this is my charging bay. There's a flashlight, I can use this. This is my charging bay. These are all my chargers for all the scooters that I have. The top shelf are the ones that I actually use. The bottom shelf is just like from scooters that I have like hidden in the back that are broken. But this is This is the RS. This is the Jet charger. This is the RS charger. This is the Voromotors supercharger for the Roadrunner Pro. And also on here, I have the chargers for the Cruiser V2 and everything else that I ride. And this is my Dualtron Ultra 2. It's the only Dualtron I still ride. I actually have a Storm that Voromotors did give to me when they were dealing with Dualtron. Now this room is very messy. This is my gym. What it is this is the box for the Jet. Melvin asked me to keep these boxes so when I return the scooter, they'll be able to ship it off to Electric Scooter Guide. Yeah, this is my Storm. Voromotors got me this. I have a tire on it because I have to put a new tire on the V2. So this is like my little gym. And I guess I would say this is like a minimalist gym. Here, can I give you a good perspective from here? It's really hard to tell, but I have the training mat, which I've had for like 12 years. It's a really good mat. And, it's sort of a minimalist gym. I just leave it, I don't have like a commercial gym setup, but for a regular person, a person who's not a giant bodybuilder, I have everything you need. We really only have dumbbells up to 60 pounds, but I've got kettlebells up to 100 pounds. So if I need something heavier, we use kettlebell stuff. And I'm a big fan for civilian trainers to use dumbbells above barbells. Barbells are great. I have a couple barbells here in the corner. I also have, this is called a landmine. This is actually a great tool. I actually haven't been using it that much. The landmine is very, very cool. It's a way to create sort of a machine-like action using a barbell. So I got 2 barbells. I have a pretty good collection up to 30 pounds, which is the heaviest you can usually get of maces. I really enjoy maces because, most people who train, when they train their shoulders, what do? You push forward and you push up. Maybe you do laterals to the front, laterals to the side, but none of that accesses. This is really what a shoulder does. It rotates. It's one of the most unique joints in the body. So I really love the mace. Mace, you basically swing them, almost exclusively swing. Got some nunchucks up here for no reason. I can show you some of that though in a second. I can actually do nunchucks. And my kettlebell collection. It's a little messy right now. If I have a new student come in here, I clean it up. But I've been training like the same 3 people for a long time. They're all very comfortable with the setup here. And usually, obviously, these boxes, when I train people, I take them out. But I'm basically like a minimalist trainer. Here, maybe I'll do some nunchucks for you. You guys ready? Hang on. Tight quarters. All right, nunchucks. I haven't played with these for a while. I've been sitting up on my wall for a while. Shit. And these are foam, by the way. I wouldn't want to practice with real ones. But this is the main nunchuck move, right, is this. Spend a lot of time getting really good at this. Being able to whip it around your waist, through your legs. It looks like you're hitting yourself in the nuts, right? But you're really not. Kind of just practice the same moves over and over. But anyhow, so if you break into my place, I will not be using this as a weapon. I'd probably actually grab, this is a 7-pound mace. I'd probably use this as a weapon. This would be, imagine somebody's at your door, just waiting for them. Boom! Alrighty. Guys, I'm glad to give you guys a little bit of a look into the gym. I always appreciate your support. Hey, what's up, Stony420? Coming in late, good to see you. My stepdad used to have a pair of those. Nunchucks are kind of like an old guy thing, right? I don't see like too many young people really into chucks, but I guess we were just bored, right? When we were, in the 70s and the 80s, there wasn't as much to do. So hobbies were like a bigger deal. So martial arts, I feel like we're almost much bigger. There's more variety of schools and places to train. But like every young person in the 70s and 80s had a pair of nunchucks to their parents' dismay, because these things were dangerous as fuck. Adam Stevens says, hey, Cheese just got out of here and saw that, made me laugh. Mr. Hoodlum's always telling me how much we have the same lifestyle and choice of music. Yeah, Adam, I do scooter stuff on here, but I like to share my life as much as possible. I'm really grateful for the viewers that come on here. So that's that. That's the podcast 62. Important that I showed you the difference between the RS and the Jet. I don't know if I'm going to have a long form video addressing that, but I'm happy to get that out there. And it was fun. It's almost like getting hotter as the day goes on too. But now I got to go food shopping. I'm going to throw a delivery box probably on my Cruiser and go pick up coffee for the week because I ran out of my Cafe Bustelo. Guys, I appreciate your support. Thank you for the super chats. Those are always unexpected. Tactical Barrage, good chat. I appreciate it. Adam Stevens, good to see you. Electric Rider, Don Scott, Stu2420, Mr. Hoodlum. Guys, I appreciate your support. Next podcast will be probably Wednesday or Thursday. I've been a little flexible on it, but we definitely go twice a week, almost always on Sundays, sometimes Wednesday or Thursday, just depending on my schedule. Appreciate your support, my friends. See you next time.